Hello. You've caught me in disbelief that it's been nearly 5 whole years since PS5 came out. 5 years, that's such a long time. That's 3 UK Prime Ministers ago. In that time, we stopped making Friday features, started them again, and have even reached the point where I'm already repeating jokes I made at the outset of this second run. I mean, 5 years ago, I looked like this. So much has changed, Delsin Dr. Pepper Metal Gear. One consistent through this half-decade, however, has been the gleaming quality of video games on PS5. The beauty, ingenuity and innovation of what devs are producing, always pushing the boundaries of what we believe possible. So we thought this milestone the perfect opportunity to look back over the standout moments of this generation so far. Here then are 7 mind-blowing PS5 moments every gamer needs to experience. Leave that alone. We'll start at the end of Astrobot. So if you haven't finished the story yet, then skip to the next entry. This irresistible firework of joy and nostalgia lit up PS5 in September of 2024 with its inventive platforming, knowing humour, and a protagonist who's laser-legged himself into PlayStation folklore. Astro is just perfect. You know, his little wave, his infectious enthusiasm, his indefatigable determination as we fling him to his death 50 times in a row while trying to best each other's times in the vicious Void challenge levels. He's a PlayStation legend. Arguably his finest moment comes during the final boss fight against Space Bully Nebulax, the marauding green alien responsible for stealing all the components of your in-game PS5 and scattering them across the cosmos. This glitzy set piece is a culmination of everything Astrobot does so well. Thumping music and frantic gameplay delivered with a dose of nostalgia so potent it'll make your eyes water. I'm not crying. I am crying. How could you not when you're neck deep in a sci-fi shoot-'em-up firing neon projectiles from a PS1 alongside the Ape Escape crew before blasting through a stream of battles alongside characters and hardware from every PlayStation generation, climaxing in an epic platforming tussle on top of a PS5. Regardless of how long you've owned a PlayStation, this fight is amazing. If, like me, you've owned every PlayStation console since the original, it becomes a near transcendent experience, a gaudy fizz of modern platforming action that refracts a dazzling beam of history and legacy through the prism of PS5 into a rainbow of gaming wonder. And don't worry, Astro is fine at the end. I told you, I'm not crying. The second mind-blowing PS5 moment every gamer needs to experience comes in Final Fantasy XVI, a game so full of mind-blowing moments it could have fleshed out the entire video on its own. I'll get moaned at if I just prattle on about Final Fantasy for 12 minutes though, so I'll pick just one moment. The Titan boss fight. Again, spoilers if you're yet to play Final Fantasy XVI. Around halfway through the game, Clive, that's you, faces off against Hugo Kupka, a big evil bloke who's about to get even bigger, transforming into the infamous icon Titan before lobbing half a mountain's worth of boulders at you. This is where things get obscene, quite frankly, as once you've sufficiently pummeled Titan, he changes tack from lobbing half a mountain's worth of boulders at you to becoming half a mountain himself. The music goes metal, the gameplay goes all actiony, and my mouth goes Boo. I love how brazen Final Fantasy XVI is. Every time there's an icon battle, the game gleefully forgets any remaining whiff of turn-based combat and dives headfirst into being anime as hell. Here we've got Clive in Ifrit mode, sprinting across a canyon while a boss the size of a small country thrusts highways of rock in your face. You get to leap onto those highways and punch Titan to bits, the finishing blow delivered from thousands of feet in the air as you spear Titan with one of his own appendages for over 2 million hit points worth of damage. I tend not to use the phrase next gen because, you know, what does it really mean? But it means this. And the fight isn't even over, as next you and Titan go tumbling through the earth, Balrog versus Gandalf style, trading blows until you finally end him by smashing his face in half with a boxing glove made of granite. what a boss fight. The Bahamut one a few hours later is pretty good as well, exchanging laser beam blasts with a dragon in space. But I promised I wouldn't go on about Final Fantasy, didn't I? So, next entry. We've got spectacle of a different kind for entry number 3, and it's the first time you take control of Sam in Death Stranding 2 on the beach. An increasingly rare instance of an increasingly bitter and cynical me being utterly bowled over. I simply could not believe that I was in control of something that looked this astonishingly good. The opening sequence of Death Stranding 2 is so my bag. Wide, haunting shots of melancholic landscapes with sad music playing. Visually, it's slightly elevated from what you see in the main game, that beautiful realm of ambiguity between gameplay and cutscene, which is the realm I thought we were still in when Sam gets up and surveys this mountain ridge, and all of a sudden, you're just playing. This here is, in my opinion, the single best looking bit of any video game in history. I just couldn't believe it. I literally said, "Oh my God," out loud as I slowly pushed Sam forwards over rocks and ridges, Woodkid's searing track -61 adding to the otherworldly sense of disbelief. A breathtaking opening to my personal game of the year for 2025. And the quality just does not dip for the next 100 hours or so. Sometimes, when I'm feeling a bit empty, I'll turn all the lights off and boot up a new save on Death Stranding 2 just so I can play this bit again. I always feel better afterwards. Mind-blowing PS5 moment number 4 is using rifts for the first time in Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which sounds like nothing particularly special when I say it with words, but how about if I show it with video? Insomniac were just showing off, basically, and I am here for it. PS5 was still in its first year when Rift Apart released in June 2021, and we as gamers hadn't quite got our heads around the super fast load times of the SSD. Thanks to Dr. Nefarious and his Dimensionator, the reality of this then hit us in the face with the force of a space fish. The ensuing set piece is of ludicrous scale and technical wizardry, the rifts hurling you from one area to the next in the blink of an eye, propelling Ratchet from scene to scene, the action swirling and escalating as you surf, shoot and wisecrack your way through. Every time we talk about Ratchet & Clank, we try desperately to avoid the cliche of saying it looks like playing a Pixar movie, so I won't say that. But the fidelity here is laughably impressive. Look at it, this is a video game. Imagine showing it to someone from 1999. Imagine what they'd think.
I mean, it looks like I'm playing a Pixar movie.
Mind-blowing PS5 moment number 5 is all about the wonders of VR, and much like with the Final Fantasy entry, there's loads I could talk about here, being in a kayak in the Arctic, throwing an axe in someone's face in Hitman. But I can't talk about mind-blowing PlayStation VR 2 experiences without mentioning Gran Turismo 7. Oh, I can smell the leathery new car smell. That thing GT7 lets you do, where you get one of your cars out the garage and just admire it from various angles, is outrageously good with a PSVR 2 headset on. I mean, I don't even particularly like cars. I don't know much about them beyond what pedals make them go and stop. But Gran Turismo has always been a series imbued with a passion so infectious you can't help but get caught up in it, and being able to witness Polyphony's famous attention to detail up close, like you feel as if you're pressing your nose against these cars, it really is a mind-blowing experience. You can drive the cars as well in virtual reality, I might add. And if you're fortunate enough to have a steering wheel set up, then that, combined with PSVR 2, I genuinely think is the most impressively immersive video game experience you can have. You know, what an obscene thrill, feeling as though you're driving cars of this power and beauty around some of the most iconic racetracks in the world. I don't care if racing games aren't usually your thing. If you have a PSVR 2, you have to play Gran Turismo 7. And if racing games are your thing, well, then I'm not talking to you right now, am I? Because you're not watching this video. You're playing GT7 in VR, because why would you spend one single waking minute of your life doing anything else? The penultimate mind-blowing PS5 moment every gamer needs to experience is the boss fight against Hyperion in Returnal, the roguelike shoot-'em-up from Housemarque we're convinced is one of PS5's all-time best games. And this section encapsulates why more than any other. An ascent through the echoing ruins, haunting music a constant in the background, growing louder the higher you climb. That is Returnal's vibe. Weird, scary sci-fi with music seemingly designed to trigger an existential crisis at any moment. You reach the boss and realise the music has been coming from it all along. Hyperion is a writhing mass of foliage and tendrils, a being who seems to be playing and yet is also part of an enormous organ, piping music into the very fabric of the environment. He's like an evil ent who's really good at playing piano. Celine's goal is to silence Hyperion, which in practice means dodging his bullet hell projectiles and whittling down his health until his organ playing days are over. Which is kind of sad, in a way, as I was really enjoying the music. Returnal is a rare and brilliant fusion of gameplay, story and music, the three so intertwined and integral to the experience that you feel you couldn't have one without the other. Hyperion, more so than any moment in the game for me, epitomises what Returnal does so brilliantly. You need to play it. Okay then, the seventh and final mind-blowing PS5 moment every gamer needs to experience is Kratos versus Thor in God of War Ragnarok, the titanic scrap we'd all been waiting for ever since that cliffhanger ending to 2018 God of War, where a mysterious stranger with a thunder hammer showed up on Kratos' doorstep. Mysterious stranger. We all knew who it was. And this fight did not disappoint. It had everything. Tense dinner table standoff with the baddie over drinks, and then, magic hammer through the roof and straight to punching each other's guts out. See? Everything. I remember feeling starstruck when I played this, a moment I'd imagined for 4 years, finally playing out in front of my eyes. Thor as charismatic and terrifying as ever, Kratos resolute and unmoving in the face of the onslaught, teetering on the edge of succumbing to the writhing anger within, because the epic scale, staging and choreography are one thing, well, 3 things, but there's more on the line here. The emotional stakes are high. Despite the fact it's the first meeting between these two legendary figures, there's no escaping the deeply personal feud between these two. And though Kratos tries not to admit it, there's definitely a hunger to prove himself against arguably the most dangerous adversary he's ever encountered. There's no way Kratos made the move from Greek myth to Norse myth without thinking about taking on Thor. That's like going to Alton Towers and not riding Nemesis. This bit here where Thor mentions Atreus and Kratos lets a little bit of anger out. Oh yes, the fight we all wanted, the fight you need to experience. So there you go, 7 mind-blowing PS5 moments every gamer needs to experience. Let us know in the comments if you can think of any we've missed. Give us a like if you've enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell for more of these videos every Friday. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
PlayStation